my child. I see what no one else sees. I see the tears that never fall but sting your eyes, the silent battles you wage while the world keeps moving, unaware. I hear the words you never say aloud, the ones soaked in confusion, fear, and sorrow. You've been carrying more than anyone knows, and still you try to hold yourself together. You think I've forgotten you, that I've moved on while you're stuck in place. But I have counted every tear. I have memorized your sighs. I have marked the moments when you almost gave up, and I stood beside you even when you didn't feel me. I do not turn away from pain. I step into it. I walk through the fire with you. I sit beside you in the dark. I place my presence beside your ache. I whisper truth into the noise of your mind when the enemy tries to drown you in despair. You are not alone in the silence. You are not abandoned in the sorrow. You are not invisible to me. You are not weak for feeling this pain. You are human. And I crafted your humanity with hands that know suffering. You forget sometimes that I formed you from dust, but breathed my spirit into you. I know the limits of your strength and the shape of your grief. I watched my son bleed so that you could know. I am not a distant God. I am not unreachable, untouchable, or unaware. I am Emmanuel, God with you. In the pain, in the pit, in the prison, in the panic, in the hospital room, in the heartbreak, in the sleepless nights and the screaming silence. I do not love from afar. I draw near with a love that cannot be shaken. Even when you cannot see me, I am there. Even when you do not feel me, I am working. I hold your broken pieces in my hands, not to condemn, but to rebuild. I am writing redemption into your story even as you cry. Listen now, and let my voice become louder than the lies. Let my words steady what has been trembling. Let my presence settle what has been storming. Let me remind you that your pain is not the end. It's the place where I begin. And when I begin something, I carry it to completion. I will not leave you here. Chapter 1. I know the ache you carry. You wake up each morning wondering if today will feel any different. Some days the sorrow hides itself well. Other days it lingers like a shadow that won't lift. You carry questions that feel too heavy to speak aloud, so you carry them in your heart like wounds that never close. You ask, why me? And where were you, God? I was there when it happened. I was with you when they left, when they betrayed, when the words pierced you so deeply they left invisible bruises. I saw you hold back tears at the dinner table so no one would worry. I saw you try to be strong when no one noticed or asked. I was there in the doctor's room, when you heard news you didn't want to hear. I was there in the accident, when time slowed and fear gripped your chest. I was there in the hallway afterward, when your legs felt weak beneath the weight of reality. I was there in the quiet moments when grief felt like it would swallow you whole. I was not absent. I was not indifferent. I was near to your broken heart, even as it cracked in silence. I stood with you in the aftermath. I heard every unspoken prayer, the ones that never formed into words, just sobs and silence. Every deep breath that was more of a plea than a breath, I received like incense rising to heaven. I watched you sit in stillness, trying to understand why everything fell apart. I saw you question your worth, question your strength, question even your faith. But you were never disqualified by your doubt. I held space for your honesty. Your pain matters to me. It is not something I overlook or step around. I step into it with you. I take my seat beside you in the very place you thought I had left. I do not glance away from your suffering. I draw closer to it. I kneel beside you in the ashes and lift your face when you cannot lift it yourself. The ache you carry is not ignored in heaven. It echoes through eternity and reaches my heart with a resonance I never silence. I do not require you to be fine before I will comfort you. I do not ask for a brave face or a rehearsed prayer. I ask for your raw truth. Come to me shattered. I am the God who restores every fragment. Come to me exhausted. I give rest not only to the body but to the soul, to the part of you no one else sees, to the part of you that even you have forgotten how to love. You do not need to hide your wounds from me. I bore wounds too. I know the sting of betrayal, the agony of abandonment, the sharpness of grief. I watched my son stretch out his arms not only in surrender, but in solidarity with your suffering. Scars on my son's hands testify that pain is not foreign to me. I did not shield him from sorrow. I allowed him to feel the full weight of the world, so you would never feel alone in yours. The cross was not just for your sin, it was for your suffering. It was not only to cleanse you, but to carry you. It was not only a payment, it was a promise. It was to show you that I take your sorrow seriously, and that redemption was woven into your story long before you felt broken. Let the cross remind you, I did not abandon my son in his hour of anguish, and I will not abandon you in yours. When the sky grew dark and the earth trembled, I was still in control. And when your world trembles, so am I. I hold your pain with tenderness, and I cradle your spirit with care. I will never rush your healing, but I will walk it with you. Let me be your refuge. Let me be your rest. Let me show you what love looks like when everything else falls away. Chapter 2. I am with you in the waiting. Waiting feels like silence, like I've gone quiet, like I've stopped moving. You pray and nothing changes. You knock and the door stays closed. You ask, but the answer feels delayed. You wonder if I hear you at all. You replay your words, question your faith, and scan your heart for faults you fear might be the cause of my delay. But listen closely. My silence is not absence. It is not neglect. It is intention wrapped in love. The waiting room is not a wasted place. It is the hidden sanctuary where transformation is born. It is the place where I am forming you, not forgetting you. I am not dismissing your cry. I am deepening your roots. You want the pain to end, but I want the pain to shape you. Not to harden your heart, but to strengthen it. To teach you to stand even when your emotions waver. I do not rush the healing. I make it real. I make it lasting. I work beneath the surface while you wonder why things haven't changed above it. When Lazarus died, my son did not come right away. The people said, if he had been here, this wouldn't have happened. They misunderstood the delay as indifference, but I was teaching them that my timing is not late. It's layered with purpose. I was preparing a miracle that would reach further, impact deeper, and awaken greater faith. I am not just working on what's around you. I'm working on what's inside you, on your trust, your resilience, your intimacy with me. In the waiting, I am proving that peace is not about circumstance, it's about presence. You will not find peace in explanations or resolutions. You find it in me, in my closeness, in the stillness that teaches you how to lean, how to trust when there's no signpost, how to rest when there's no visible answer. I know what is best for you, and I love you enough to delay what you think you need in order to give you what will truly restore you. What you think is a denial is often just a delay designed to protect you or position you for something greater. I am not punishing you by making you wait. I am preparing you, carefully, lovingly, intentionally. I am pouring strength into your soul, bit by bit, like rain soaking dry ground, nourishing what is hidden beneath the surface. You may feel like nothing is happening, but I am at work in ways you cannot yet comprehend. Just as seeds grow in silence beneath the soil, your faith is maturing in this season of quiet. I am rebuilding the foundations of your faith so they can stand strong no matter what storms may come. I am reinforcing your endurance, deepening your capacity to trust when nothing makes sense. I am not delaying to frustrate you, but to form you, to shape you into someone unshakable, to develop a quiet resilience, a deeper trust, a heart that leans not on what it sees, but on who I am and what I have spoken. I am softening the hard places where bitterness threatened to grow and uprooting the weeds of resentment that would have choked your joy. I am loosening the grip of fear that kept you bound, undoing years of false beliefs and wounds that whispered you were not enough. I am removing the weight of expectations you were never meant to carry, lifting burdens placed on you by others, by shame, or even by your own striving. I am preparing a place in you for joy, not the fleeting joy of circumstances, but the anchored joy of my presence. I am widening your capacity for peace, so that even when the world is spinning, you will remain steady. I am planting seeds of endurance that will bloom in time, seeds that grow into patience, courage, faithfulness, and peace. These seeds do not sprout overnight. They require watering, surrender, and time. But when they bloom, they will not be easily shaken. They will be rooted in me. You don't see it now, and that's okay. You don't have to see the end to trust me with the middle. You don't have to understand the reason to receive the refining. I don't ask you to figure everything out. I ask you to remain with me. Let me carry the mystery while you walk in faith. One day you'll look back and realize that the waiting wasn't a detour. It was the path. It was the very road I chose to shape you, prepare you, and draw you closer. It was the stretch of road where you became stronger than you ever imagined. It was the place where you laid down your timeline and picked up my promise. It was where you learned to surrender the script and embrace the author. It was holy ground. It was sacred space. It was the valley where you learned that I don't just deliver you from storms. I teach you how to stand in them, how to sing through them, how to know me within them. It was where I met you not with answers, but with myself. And I am always enough for your past, your present, and every tomorrow to come. Chapter 3. I redeem what feels ruined. You look at the broken pieces of your life and wonder if anything good can come of it. You see the dreams that didn't happen, the relationships that didn't last, the years you feel you've lost. Some days it feels like the damage is too deep, like too much time has passed to recover what was once hoped for. It seems too late, too far gone. You grieve not only what happened, but what never had the chance to become. But I am the God who restores years, not just days or moments, but entire seasons of your life that felt wasted. I am not limited by time, and I am not intimidated by ruins. I do not turn away from what is broken. I step toward it with purpose. Where the world sees waste, I see potential. Where you see ashes, I see the foundation for beauty. Where others give up and walk away, I kneel down and begin rebuilding. I know exactly how to bring forth something glorious from what has fallen apart. I took Joseph from a pit to a palace. I took Ruth from mourning to marriage. I took Peter from denial to declaration. I took the cross, an instrument of torture, and made it the doorway to salvation. There is nothing I cannot use. I do not discard brokenness. I redeem it. Your pain is not your ending. It is the place where I show my glory. What felt like a death sentence is often the beginning of a resurrection. You think you are disqualified because of your past. But I never called you because you were perfect. I called you because I loved you, with a love that sees your beginning and your end and chooses you still. I knew the full span of your life before your first breath, the highs and the heartbreaks, the wins and the wounds, the progress and the setbacks. I saw it all, and I still chose you. I do not unchoose what I have chosen. My commitment to you is not based on your performance. It's rooted in my covenant. My grace is not undone by your stumbles. My calling is not revoked by your missteps. Your failures do not cancel my promises. Your past does not alter my plans. I do not look for spotless records. I look for surrendered hearts. I knew every mistake before you made it, and I still picked you. I knew the moments when you would fall short, when you would question me, when you would wrestle with your worth. I knew the internal storms that would rage silently inside of you, the private doubts, the secret sins, the exhaustion you'd try to hide behind a brave face. I saw it all, and still, my answer was yes. Still, my arms opened wide. Still, my voice called you by name. My love is not fragile. It does not fracture when you falter. It holds fast when everything else falls apart. It anchors you when you've lost your way. It restores you when you've lost yourself. My purpose for you is not erased by your detours. It is often revealed through them. If anything, I will use the detours to deepen your dependence on me, to peel away your self-reliance and replace it with holy trust. I will turn the very paths you thought disqualified you into highways of grace and wisdom, where others will one day walk and find their way home. Nothing is too broken for me to restore. Not a dream, not a soul, not a future, not a family, not a calling, not even the pieces of you that feel permanently lost. Nothing is too lost for me to reclaim. Not a year, not a decade, not even the innocence you feel was stolen from you. Not even the joy you think can never return. I restore not by replacing, but by redeeming. I take what others see as rubble and build a temple of testimony. I am the God who gathers fragments. I collect every shattered part and hold it in my hand with care, not as a memory of failure, but as the beginning of something beautiful. I am the potter who takes shattered clay and spins it into beauty. My wheel never stops turning, and my hands never release what I am molding. The cracks in your story are where my light shines through, vivid, bold, unstoppable, undeniable. What the world sees as weakness, I use as a window to reveal my strength. The wounds you tried to hide will one day testify to my healing. They will become sacred places where others can touch your pain and find my power. They will not be your shame. They will be your strength. They will be the markers of where I entered your pain and wrote redemption across your heart. They are not scars to hide, but signatures of grace, proof that death did not win, despair did not have the final word, and darkness could not drown out the light. Don't be ashamed of what you've survived. Every breath you take is a declaration of victory. It doesn't diminish you. It reveals your resilience, your endurance, and the fingerprint of my grace that kept you breathing when you didn't think you could. Don't minimize the fact that you're still standing. There were forces that tried to take you out. There were voices that told you it was over. But you endured. That breath in your lungs is proof that I am not finished. that glimmer of hope you feel, even if it's faint, is a sign that the story still turns, that the pages are still turning. I am not done writing, and the next chapter will be filled with renewal, with power, with joy reborn in places you thought had died. It's evidence that you are still here, and that I have preserved you for a reason, a divine reason, one rooted in eternity. You are not a mistake. You are not forgotten. You are not overlooked. I have walked with you through every fire, through every night, through every battle, even when you didn't feel me, even when you screamed into silence. I was nearer than your breath, and I am still walking with you now, still carrying you when you are too weary to move, still speaking life into your soul when the world speaks death, still planting new things in ground that seemed barren. The story isn't over. The page hasn't closed. The ink is still wet. You are not in your final chapter. I write endings that begin with resurrection. I write hope where there was once despair. I bring beauty from what looked like defeat. I use the broken to display the brilliance of my restoration. And I am not finished with you. Not by a long shot. Your greatest days are still ahead. What's coming is not just recovery. It's redemption in full bloom. Chapter 4. I strengthen you in the struggle. You're tired, not just physically, but spiritually. You're worn down by the battle you didn't choose but can't escape. It feels like every time you stand, something knocks the wind from your lungs. You keep showing up, but inside you're barely holding on. You smile in public and cry in silence. You try to stay positive, but the thoughts creep in, the doubts, the fear, the lies that say nothing will change. You wonder if you'll ever feel free again, if peace is possible, if rest is real. Hear me. The struggle is not proof of failure. It is proof that you are still fighting, that something in you refuses to quit, that my breath still fills your lungs and my fire still burns in your bones. And I honor the fight. I see every unseen battle, every time you resisted temptation when no one would have known, every time you held back angry words when you wanted to scream, every time you stayed present when escape looked easier, every time you kept going when giving up would have been understandable. I saw it all. I recorded it all. Heaven noticed what others missed. Strength doesn't always look like victory. Sometimes it looks like tears on your pillow and trembling hands that still reach for me. Sometimes it's the prayer whispered under your breath when everything inside you feels numb. The kind of prayer that isn't spoken in words, but in gasps and silence. Strength can look like getting out of bed when your heart is heavy. It can look like showing up when your soul feels like it's fading. I am not waiting for you to be unshaken. I bless those who are poor in spirit. I do not demand that you rise in perfection. I honor the one who limps forward with faith. I don't reject you when you're broken. I draw even closer. I bend down to the level of your need. I collect your tears and call them precious. I am not asking for perfection. I delight in your persistence. Your courage is not measured by loudness, but by faith that breathes even when it feels faint, even when it feels buried beneath the rubble of discouragement. Let me renew you. Let me remind you of who you are, not the version the world defines, but the one I designed. Let me breathe life back into your weary soul, into the parts of you that feel forgotten, dismissed, or diminished. Let me lift the weight you've been trying to carry alone, the weight of expectations, of disappointments, of everything you feel you've failed to be. Let me hold your heart when it feels like it's unraveling. Let me wrap you in the kind of peace that doesn't make sense to the world, but anchors you in me. Let me remind you that even my son grew weary. He fell to his knees in the garden. He cried out in agony. He felt the weight of pain and pressure and impending suffering. He asked for the cup to pass, and yet he finished his mission. So will you, because your strength is not manufactured. It is given, not by your own might, but by my Spirit, because my Spirit is in you, because my grace is sufficient, not barely enough, but more than enough, because your weakness is not a flaw. It is the doorway to my strength, and where you end, I begin. Keep going. Even if all you can do today is breathe. Even if your steps feel small and slow. Even if you don't know how to take the next one. Even if the weight of sorrow clings to your ankles and every movement feels like wading through deep water, do not stop. Keep pressing forward through the fog of fatigue, through the ache of disappointment, through the heaviness that tries to convince you to give up. I see you. I hear the words you don't say. I understand the sighs that never become sentences. I read the language of your tears and your tired glances. I am not distant from your struggle. I am not unmoved by your weariness. I am right there, walking beside you, whispering strength into your soul even when your ears can't hear it. I will meet you in the middle of the fog and walk beside you into clarity. And when the fog does not lift, I will stay close and guide you one breath at a time. I will not hurry your healing, but I will hold you through every wave of it. I will sit with you in the silence, stay with you in the sadness, and walk with you into sunrise. I am with you in every step, not just the triumphant ones, but the trembling ones. Not just the confident strides, but the ones where you're crawling on hands and knees. Even the moments when you collapse from exhaustion and think you've failed, I count those moments as sacred. They are the altars where you lay your weariness, and I meet you with grace. Every breath you take in pain, I take with you in presence. Every battle you face in weakness, I fight beside you in power. You are never out of my reach. You are never outside of my care. I step between you and despair. When the world walks past, I kneel beside. When others don't notice your endurance, I celebrate it. I count your perseverance as courage, not your collapse as defeat. I will not let go, not now, not ever. I will not let you fall unnoticed. I will not let you collapse without catching you. I will not leave you halfway through your healing. I am the author and the finisher. What I start, I will complete. What I begin in tears, I end in triumph. What you thought was the end, I make the beginning of something new. You are not alone. Not in the silence, not in the sorrow, not in the setbacks. Not when your prayers feel weak. Not when your faith feels frayed. Not when you have more questions than answers, and more pain than strength. You are not abandoned, not for a moment, not in the hospital room, not in the heartbreak, not in the aftermath, not in the early morning hours when you feel like time stands still and hope slips away. You are not defeated, even when it feels like the fight is never ending, like victory is something always out of reach. You are still mine, my beloved, my creation, my child. You are still the one I choose, the one I believe in, the one I love beyond comprehension. You are still the one I died to redeem, still the one I rose to restore. And I am still enough. I am still your peace when your world is chaos. I am still your provider when the resources dry up. I am still your anchor when the storm doesn't pass. I am still your healer when the pain hasn't left. I am still your promise when everything feels uncertain. Always enough. Forever enough. Especially now. especially here, especially for you. Chapter 5. I will use this for good. What the enemy meant to destroy you, I will use to develop you. What life tried to take from you, I will restore. What was meant for evil, I turn for good. Every scheme that came against you will be woven into something greater than the pain it caused. Every attempt to break you will become a stepping stone into strength. Nothing that touched your life will be wasted. Not the sorrow, not the silence, not the seasons of struggle. I am not only rewriting the narrative, you are stepping into the plot I authored long before the hurt ever touched you. This is not the end of your story. This is the place where the plot shifts. This is where the turning point begins. The suffering you endured will not be wasted. It is soil for your growth. It is fire for your purification. It is the training ground for your testimony. What scorched you will now refine you. What buried you will now become the very ground from which new life springs forth. Every loss will be redeemed in purpose. Every tear will be gathered and turned into rivers of restoration. I collect it all, and I pour it back into your future with multiplied meaning. Do not believe the lie that your best days are behind you. That is the enemy trying to blind you to what I am building. He wants you focused on what fell apart, so you won't see what I'm piecing together. But I am not done. I'm doing a new thing. It is already beginning to rise in your life, even if you can't see it yet, even if it's beneath the surface, hidden from the eyes of others, even if it starts as a whisper, a flicker, a quiet stirring in your spirit. I am a God of resurrection, not just repair. I do not only fix what's broken, I raise dead things to life. I breathe breath into bones you thought would never move again. I don't just mend, I transform. I don't just patch, I make whole. You are not just being healed, you are being made new, completely, intentionally, beautifully. Your heartbreak will become a story of healing, a living testimony, a reminder of how I meet you in the valley and walk you up the mountain. The places that once ached will become places of anointing, where others will be blessed by what once broke you. The weakness that once shamed you will become a well of wisdom, overflowing with depth and discernment you could only learn by walking through the valley. Your scars will become signs of survival, not shame, not regret, but resilience, power, glory. I use all of it. I use the pain and the praise, the wilderness and the worship, the falling and the rising, the breaking and the becoming. I waste nothing. Do not despise your pain. Do not run from it. Do not bury it beneath distraction, addiction, busyness, or blame. Bring it to me. Bring it raw. Bring it messy. Lay it down at my feet. Let me show you what I can do with it. Let me turn it into something glorious. Let me breathe purpose into your suffering. Let me turn it into a testimony that echoes through eternity, a witness to my faithfulness, a beacon to those still trapped in darkness. Trust me, I am the one who sees the end from the beginning. I already know how this ends, and it ends in redemption. It ends in restoration. It ends in joy. And I promise you this, when I'm finished, you'll see that it was always love carrying you through the pain. Love that never let go. Love that stood in the fire with you. Love that never left you. Love that never failed. Love that never gave up on you. And love is still writing your story, page by page, day by day, miracle by miracle. Chapter 6. I understand your doubts. There are moments when your faith feels thin. You question whether I'm listening, whether I care, whether the promises are really for you. You wonder if I've turned my face away, if perhaps your doubts have distanced you from me. You carry shame not only for your past mistakes, but for your present uncertainty. You feel guilty for doubting, for asking hard questions, for wrestling with belief when you want so badly to trust. You compare yourself to those who seem steadfast and strong and wonder if something's wrong with your faith because it feels fragile. But I do not turn away from the doubter. I draw near to the honest heart. I welcomed Thomas when he questioned. I did not shame him. I met him where he stood. I let him touch my wounds, not to prove a point, but to heal his faith. I did not scold his hesitation. I honored his honesty. I am not threatened by your questions. I am not disappointed by your wrestling. The very fact that you bring your doubts to me is a sign of relationship, not rebellion. It is proof that you still believe I am real enough to ask, close enough to care, faithful enough to trust with your confusion. Faith is not the absence of doubt. It is choosing me even when your heart is uncertain. It is reaching through the fog, whispering, I believe, even when your soul trembles. It is standing in the tension and saying, help my unbelief. And I do. I honor that kind of faith. I hold it gently. I nourish it with grace. I will not crush the bruised reed. I will not snuff out the flickering flame. I do not measure your belief by volume or clarity. I look at the direction of your gaze. I am tender with the fragile parts of you. I do not demand confidence. I welcome vulnerability. You are not faithless just because you feel fear. You are not distant just because your hope wavers. You are human, and I delight in your humanity. I crafted you with curiosity, with longing, with questions. Come as you are, not as you wish you could be. Let me carry the weight of belief. Let me steady your hand. Let me soothe the voice of shame and remind you of truth. Let me lift your head when you feel unworthy. Let me remind you that it was never your strength that sustained you. It was always my love, not your certainty, not your performance, my love. And that has never changed. Chapter 7. I will walk you through the storm. Storms come, not because I'm angry and not because you failed, but because life is filled with wind and waves. The world is broken. People are hurting. Pain touches every shore. Suffering reaches even the most faithful hearts. But I am not the storm. I am the steady in it. I am the stillness that speaks peace in chaos. I do not cause the pain, but I enter into it with you. You fear the chaos will sweep you away, that the uncertainty will consume you whole. But look again. I am walking on the water toward you. I defy what threatens to drown you. I speak peace to the winds. I rebuke the storm and quiet the panic. I stand in the boat you think is sinking. The disciples thought the storm meant I was absent, but it was in the storm that they saw my power. It was in the crashing of waves that they saw my authority. It was in their fear that they met my faithfulness. So too with you. This trial will not destroy you. It will reveal me. It will open your eyes to a deeper truth. It will sharpen your vision. It will silence the lesser voices that once seemed so loud. It will anchor your faith to something more solid than comfort. You won't just know me as Savior. You will know me as Sustainer. You will know me as Deliverer, as Companion, as the one who never steps away from your side. You don't have to be strong in the storm. You don't have to pretend it doesn't shake you. You only have to hold on. Let the tears come. Let the questions rise. Let your knees buckle if they must. I am not ashamed of your trembling. I am honored by your trust. Fix your eyes on me. Even if the winds howl and the waters churn, keep looking to me. I am not going anywhere. I am the hand stretched out to catch you. I am the voice calling above the storm. I am the calm that finds you even when the storm doesn't pass right away. The waves may roar, but I will not let you drown. You are mine, and I will bring you through, stronger, wiser, steadier, and more deeply aware that you were never alone. Chapter 8. I am still working. When it seems like nothing is changing, when it feels like your prayers hit the ceiling and fall back down, remember, I am always working. In silence, in stillness, in the soil of your waiting. My hands are never idle, even when your heart can't feel it. I do not step away from your life. I step into it in ways you may not yet understand. My work is often hidden, but never absent. Like the roots of a tree beneath the surface, I am anchoring you before the fruit appears. Seeds take root before they rise. Foundations are laid before walls go up. I work in layers. I build what lasts. I am not interested in shortcuts. I am interested in your wholeness. I am building something that time cannot erode, something that testing will not shake. Quick answers may satisfy the moment, but lasting transformation takes time, care, and deep roots. I want to give you more than relief. I want to give you renewal. When Joseph sat in prison, he felt forgotten, but he was being positioned. When Moses wandered in the wilderness, he felt lost, but he was being trained. When Esther waited in fear, she felt unseen, but I was arranging every detail. And when my son hung on the cross, it looked like death had won, but resurrection was already in motion. I am the same God now, the God who sees beyond what you see, the God who plans every detail with purpose, the God who turns waiting into preparation, suffering into sacred ground. Do not mistake my patience for distance. Do not confuse silence with absence. I am orchestrating things you cannot yet imagine. I am aligning hearts, opening doors, closing others, softening soil, redirecting steps, and preparing your spirit for more than you've prayed for. I see the full picture, and I hold every piece. Nothing escapes my notice. No delay is wasted. No detour is random. Everything is working together with divine precision. If I gave it to you now, it would crush you. Not because you are unworthy, but because you are still becoming. So I am building your strength, expanding your capacity, rooting your joy in me, so no blessing will become a burden. So your identity will be grounded in who I am, not what I give. Trust my timing. Trust my process. Trust that the road that feels barren is preparing the richest harvest. You will look back and see that I was doing more than you asked. I was doing what you needed. I was preparing a blessing that will not break you, but bless you beyond what you thought possible. Chapter 9. I have never let go of you. You wonder if you've drifted too far, if you've taken too many wrong turns, if you've outsinned my grace or outlasted my mercy. You fear you've worn me out with your failures, that my patience is running thin. But child, I have never let go of you. Not once, not for a second, not in the darkness, not in the silence, not even when you stopped believing in yourself. I held you when you didn't know you were being held. I covered you when you didn't know you were exposed. I have followed you through every dark road. I have stood at the edge of every mistake. I have waited patiently through your silence. I have sat in your shadows, never moving, even when you turned away. I have wept with you, hoped with you, and never stopped believing in you. You are not lost. You are mine. You are not too far gone. You are still within my reach. And no matter how far you feel, you are always only one breath, one word, one moment away from return. Even when you didn't speak my name, I whispered yours. Even when you ran from me, I ran after you. Even when you built walls of shame, I climbed over them with mercy. My love has no expiration. My arms have no limit. My grace is still enough. It doesn't run dry when your strength does. It doesn't expire with your mistakes. It is new every morning, fresh every hour, ready every second. I have never given up on you. Come home, not when you're cleaned up, now, not when you're ready, just as you are. Come with the mess, come with the guilt, come with the uncertainty. I don't need you perfect. I want you present. Let me remind you what love really looks like. Unshakable, unearned, unconditional. Let me quiet the shame that speaks so loudly. Let me drown it out with my song over you. Let me remind you that you are not a project. You are my child. Not a problem to fix, but a person to love. Not a burden. I call you beloved. There is nothing you can do to make me love you less, and nothing you need to do to make me love you more. I already do. I always have, and I always will. No detour has canceled my plan. No scar has changed your worth. No failure has made me change my mind. I chose you then. I choose you now. I will choose you tomorrow, forever and always. You are mine. Chapter 10. I am the end and the beginning. You think this is the end, but it's only the threshold. You feel like life has closed its doors on you, but I am opening new ones. You feel worn and weathered, but I see wisdom taking root. You feel like it's all falling apart, but I am pulling things together in a higher pattern. This isn't a collapse, it's a clearing, a preparation, a holy dismantling of what was never meant to stay, so that what is eternal can rise. I am the Alpha and the Omega. I am not constrained by time or logic. I write stories no man can erase. I redeem what no one else can repair. I restore what seemed lost. I rebuild what others walked away from. When you think it's over, I am just getting started. When you see ashes, I see potential. When others see ruin, I see a place to resurrect. Let this be your turning point. Let this be your moment of returning, rebuilding, remembering who you are and who I've always been. This is not your undoing, it is your unveiling. Let me show you how I use endings to give birth to beginnings. Let me remind you that nothing is wasted in my hands. I do not forsake the work of my hands. I do not abandon what I've started. And you are my creation, my image bearer, my masterpiece in motion. I take what is incomplete and breathe purpose into it. I take what's in progress and fill it with promise. Lift your head, dry your tears, breathe again. Stand not in defeat, but in expectation. What felt like a grave will be a garden. What looked like an ending is the opening scene of something greater. Your future is not canceled. It's being carefully rewritten by the author who knows how to resurrect dreams. I am your beginning, your middle, and your never ending. And I will never stop loving you. Not now. Not ever. Not in your doubt. Not in your delay. My love outlasts every season, and it is always calling you forward.